back, everybody. We are making good progress on our beautiful Paulette. We're going to tackle piping today. It's going to be fun. It's exciting. It's not hard, I promise you. But first we got to do a few more prep things for the bag. Just a couple of things. So we're going to talk about the connectors for the side of the bag. We're not going to I'm not going to attach them to my bag because I'm going to use the pretty hardware from Bringberry. But I would like to show you how to do it in case you have decided to use connectors. So we're going to use our leather marking pen. These are like $11 for 100 on Amazon. Take the cap off. Make sure you know where the cap is because these things can leak and make a mess. So keep that handy. We're going to make a 1/2 inch mark from the top of the connector. 1/2 inch line, I should say. So take that, draw a 1/2 inch line, like so, and draw this one. And the reason why we draw this line is that when we are sewing, even though we have the best of intentions, we sometimes can make this line crooked. And these crooked lines, they really stand out in a bag, unfortunately. So by drawing this line, it's just a nice way for you to have a guide when you are stitching, and you've given yourself enough room away from the connector itself so that your foot won't hit it. So that's what that's for. And on the bag, now don't get too concerned. I've already made the piping on half of this bag, and I'm going to do the other half all with you. So, but it's looking very, very sharp and pretty. So on the sides here, on your gusset, you would want to make a mark that is centered and about 1 1/8 inch down. Draw a line. I should do it more precisely. I'll show you. So about 1 1/8 inch, like so. The pattern has the marking, so you could just use the pattern as your marking. And then what you would do is put your connector right on that line there. Put a little double-sided tape to hold it in place. And then you're going to sew all the way around with 1/8 of an inch top stitch. Make sure it's nice, looks pretty. And then once you're done, oh, and make sure you put the threads to the back. Don't back stitch, it will show. So start and stop with long threads. And then you would put a couple of rivets here to secure these connectors in place. So very basic, but I wanted to show you. However, like I said, I'm going to use the Bringberry connector for this bag. So, but we'll still show you how to make the other strap as well. So we're going to go ahead and put these aside for now and talk a little bit more about some prep work. We have our zipper. As I mentioned, I have mine much longer than you're going to need for your bag. Excuse me. But I do that with intention because that way I have plenty of room when we do the final top stitching to have this zipper lay almost flat and it won't be in the way. And then I have enough extra to make another zipper pocket down the road. So an important thing here is on the very end, make sure that this is even. Now, you can, the reason why is if your zipper pull by chance came off, and they do sometimes, if you have this nice and even at this point in time, it's easy to match up and put the pull back on. Now, because we have so much extra, our pull is not going to come off. Just in case, I put a little clip here. You could also bar tack it if you wanted to, but we shouldn't have any issue with that. And then on this end, we're going to take our ruler. We're going to measure about 1 1/2 inches over, like so. And we're going to mark a line across. I'm using the leather marking pen. I hope it shows up. It shows up enough for me to see it, which is all that matters right now. And then we're going to do the standard butterfly fold. Get a couple of pins. My cute little pin cushion from Tracy Ann. They're so cute. Like so. And you know the routine. We basically fold this line, fold on the line, and then fold it back. So we have kind of a 45-degree angle. You fold it and flip it. Make sure it's nice and smooth. And we're going to pop a pin in there. Like so. Then we'll do this side. Oops, that came out. That happens. Fold it, 45-degree. Get a pin in there. Nice and sturdy. Like so. Okay. And then we'll do this side. Fold it over. Flip it. Put a pin in it. So we have a beautiful butterflied little zipper ends. This is how I like to do it. And we'll go to the sewing machine. I won't show you that. We've done it before. We're just going to sew 2 long lines on these edges. These edges here and here, so that the pins can be removed, and we have our nice little butterfly zipper that we will install once we complete the exterior of the bag. So go ahead and get that ready too. I'll put this aside. And next we're going to talk about, we have the front of our bag now, like so. And we need to mark the start and stop points of the piping. So we're going to just use the pattern piece and use our leather marking tool. Make sure they're aligned nicely. And just put your line there. And then do this side. And that's the start and the stop for our piping. We'll put this aside. And now we have our piping that we made the last time. So it's kind of unstick a little bit. We'll stick it back together. You're going to want to find the center of your piping just by folding it in half, and if you can, make sure yours is all stuck back together. Okay, so find the center. You can use your leather marking pen to mark it, like so. Not sure what side we're going to use, so mark the centers. And if you haven't already, make sure that you have the centers marked on the back of your piece. And that's that. And now we're going to take our piping. We'll do the center, matching up the centers. And we're going to put the piping so that the actual piping cord itself is on top and the raw edges are matching up. And then we're simply going to go all around the bag. I'm going to turn this around so I can have access to it easier. And we're going to carefully match up all the edges. Some clips here. And we're just going to take our time to make sure everything is pretty. Like so. And then when you get to the corners, just kind of ease it in. This my vinyl is very smooth and kind of has a nice drape to it already, so it's really not hard to get it around the corners. But if you wanted to, you could put a couple of, you could snip your piping just a little bit to give it some more, what do you call it, fluidity, so it can go around the corners easier. Okay. So we are going all the way like so, ensuring that we are keeping the edges aligned. And we're just going to stop for now at this spot here. Put in any extra clips that we want to as we go around. And we're going to finish this end now. So just clipping in place, ensuring the edges are aligned. Or gently follow the curve of the bag. So. And into this home stretch. And there. So you can tell I'm a little bit off on my piping, but there's plenty for both sides, so it does not matter. That's why we have extra, so don't worry about that if it happens to you. So the next thing is I'm going to just flip it over and make sure everything is even and we don't have anything that is not lined up nicely. Accuracy is important with this particular step, so it's worth a couple of extra minutes or seconds of clipping and readjusting just to make sure they're lined up. I have a clipping problem, clearly, huh? The more clips, the better. Okay. Get this evened up. All right, so that looks good. A little bit more here to even that up. Okay, done. So what we're going to do now is where you have that line that we drew where the piping is going to start and stop, just take your piping and fold it outwards. It's so thin that you don't have to really do too much with it. Just fold it outwards so that exactly on that line that you drew, and put a clip in it. Do this nicely. So again, fold it, clip it. Okay, so come over to this side, do the same thing. Coming to the sides where it extends, make sure that it's the same spot. You're going to fold it outwards, like so. It's hard to do from this direction for me, but I will do it from this direction. It's easier. Okay, so I'm going to fold it from this, fold it out, and clip it. So very important that they are both starting and stopping at the same spot, because we want them to be even, obviously. So now the next step is we're going to take our 1/8 of an inch Teflon foot and maybe use like a 4.0 basting stitch, and we're going to baste 1/8 of an inch around. You don't want to do anything larger than that because we need to save the final 1/4 inch stitch when we attach the gusset. So we're going to go to the sewing machine and we're going to sew with 1/8 of an inch all the way around. And then we're going to come back and we're going to attach it, we're going to baste it again to this gusset piece and this completed piece here. And then we will do a final stitch that will complete the attachment of the piping and the front of the bag to this piece, and we will be making fantastic progress. So come to the sewing machine with me. We'll do a little sew 3. Okay, so here we are at our trusty sewing machine. I have my Teflon zipper foot attached because I'm sewing on vinyl and it will stick otherwise. I'm going to do about a 4.0, just like a basting stitch, but maybe a little bit smaller than that. And we're simply going to sew 1/8 of an inch to attach the piping, taking extra care that we have the fold exactly on that line that we marked. So take a little time there and go. So we're just sewing 1/8 of an inch, using the edge of our foot as our guide. I think it was Amy's group. She was asking, or Katie was asking, what do people say that you don't even know you say a lot? And it turns out I say easy peasy a lot, which is not a bad thing. Could be worse, right? So easy peasy, sewing around, 1/8 of an inch all the way around. Our vinyl is nice and flexible, so we're not having any challenges with the curves. Take our time. Getting over those pretty little pleats. I love the pleats in this bag. You probably know that already. That's why I made the cute little clutch with Sandy's permission. So if you haven't seen that, it's in the group files, and it's really cute. I'll make another one, I think, to match this bag. Okay. Now we're coming along to the next curve. No problem. Easy peasy. Now I'm going to keep saying that just to irritate you. I won't, I promise. Okay, here we go. You'll notice I didn't use double-sided tape to fix this to the bag. The clips are more than sufficient, and one less step. You do you, but I think it's sufficient just doing that. So now we're getting to our fold line, so we want to make sure that we're there, which is right here. So, like that. And stop it right. So, now, you can cut your wings now, or we can cut them once we attach it to the rest of the bag. So here we have our initial piping attached. It's looking fine. So now we're going to go back to our desk. We're going to attach the gusset and the other side of the bag. Showing you, looks pretty. And then we will do the final sewing. So great job. We are back. We have our piping initially attached to the front of our bag. You can decide if you want to have this be the front or the back. I'm going to put my plaque front and center, baby. So the next step is to attach this piece to our semi-finished gusset piece here. Now you've already marked your centers on your gusset and on your front. So we're going to go right sides together, and with a few clips here, we're going to align them. Like so. Clip here. But before we commit to the entire bag, we're going to pop it open and make sure that our pleats are in the same spot as the other pleats, because even the best intentions, sometimes we get off. So I'm going to take a good look here, see how I feel about this. Oh, you might have gotten lucky. It looks good. All right, so now we can complete our clipping like we did before, and this time we're just clipping. You can see this. So once I get pretty much around a little bit here, I like to come on over here to the top of the gusset and clip that in place. Your little wing is sticking out. That's fine. We'll clip that once we baste it on. So now we are just going around. Everything is going to fit beautifully because Sammy did a great job with that, which we appreciate. Okay. Just take our time. If you find that it's not a perfect fit for any reason, you can ease it in, but mine is a perfect fit, which makes me perfectly happy. Okay. Quickly do-da-day. Okay, now we'll come to this side. Gonna do rinse, repeat. We'll do a couple more clips towards the bottom. Hopefully you can see okay. Okay, so we have completed clipping all the way around the bag. Verify that everything is even, and before you commit to the sewing machine, kind of open up your bag, peer in there, and I can't show you. I think I can show you. No, I can't show you. Sorry. Peer in your bag and make sure that your pleats are lined up as close as possible. Okay, and we are ready to go to the sewing machine. So I will see you there. And we're going to do another basting stitch, and then we're going to attach our piping foot and finalize the piping on the bag. So it wasn't so bad, was it? So far, so good. It's looking really pretty. Okay, I'll see you back at the sewing machine. So we are back to the sewing machine. I like to have the gusset face up, and we're going to attach this now with an 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. It maybe it's overkill, but maybe you could go ahead and just use your piping foot. But I like to do it this way, so I'm going to do it my way. So we're basting this on, same 4.0 stitch length. I'm just going to go 1/8 of an inch using our foot as our guide. We can smush our bag because we're in charge. We're the boss. Who's the boss? We're the boss. So we're coming around the corners. Make sure that you don't let anything shift out of the way. Just take your time. So we're sewing around, following the curve. Make sure you don't let your fabric shift away from the piping. No puckers. And then we're just following the edge of the fabric with our foot. Didn't need my Teflon foot for this, but it works the same, so why not? One less foot to change. Coming around the corner, keep that fabric nice and tight. Don't let it shift. It. Like so. And coming around the corner again. And the home stretch. Keeping that right there. that's it. So now we are ready for our piping foot. And finally, for the fun part, well actually I think it's all been fun, we're going to use our piping foot. Now this is a 1/4 inch left piping foot, so that the piping goes on the left, and I will post a link to this. I think it's a $6 foot on Amazon for the high shank, so it'll fit your 8700s and your Juki 2010s, and again any high shank industrial single needle machine. So we're going to pop her on, put the thread to the back, change our stitch length to about 3.5, and what we want to do is we want to actually kind of feel for the piping. So we know that it is a 1/4 inch away, and we're going to first start with, and we use our gauge, our line on the foot, on the plate, excuse me, as a guide, because we don't have piping up that high. So we're just going to start sewing, and then pretty soon we're going to feel the piping inside this mark where the piping goes, and that will be our gauge. And as a coincidence, because we've done a 1/8 of an inch basting stitch, we know it's also going to be an 1/8 of an inch from there too. So that's kind of nice. It's hard to mess up. Let's go. Always back stitch in the top. So we're going. And then pretty soon we're going to feel our piping in the channel. And I know you probably can't see, but my foot is pretty much on the edge of the 1/8 of an inch, and I can feel the piping in the channel, and which is awesome because it's getting nice and close. We're going to do one pass and be done, hopefully, but we have to do more than one, not the end of the world. Alright, so we are coming down to the curve. Just push the material out of the way, keep feeling for the piping so that it's inside the channel of the foot. No puckers. Around the long edge. Using our finger to ensure the piping is inside that channel. The goal is to get your stitch as close to the piping as possible, but not on the piping, otherwise it'll look funky. So keeping that in the channel is crucial. Okay? Feeling for my piping. Coming around the corner. No puckering allowed. And home stretch. Make sure that you go 1/4 of an inch to the back stitch. That is it. You can cut off your little extra wings now. Like so. Cut this one off too. And next we're going to go finally back to our desk. We're going to make sure everything looks great. I'm going to turn her inside out so I can show you how beautiful she is. And you have completed your piping, and it wasn't hard at all, was it? So, okay, I'll see you back there in a second. So I have turned the bag right side out. I inspected my piping for any goobers and didn't find any, which is nice. So very happy how it turned out. The base is even as far as the pleats matching up, so that's good too. So I think, oh, by the way, the inside is only a 3/8 or actually a 1/4 inch seam allowance, so you don't really need to trim the seam allowance on the inside unless you want to. If you want to, you can do some snips to maybe let it ease a little bit more. So the only thing I will suggest right now is, while you have the opportunity, is to do a rough fit of your lining to make sure that it fits. So I'm just going to pop this in here. So do a couple of clips on either side. Do this side. And I'm just going to kind of pull it taut, and it fits perfectly. So now we don't have to unstitch the lining and make it bigger or smaller. With confidence we can proceed. So great job, you have conquered the piping. You're now a piping wizard, and next week we're going to insert the top zipper, and let's see, I think we will go ahead and do the top stitching as well. Pretty much complete the bag, except for we still will need to create the 2 different straps for the bag, and then we'll be done. So great job. I'll see you next week. Bye.